Show us your tips. Daggy and Beaver are back with you for spring racing. The first Group 1 of the season is taking place at Randwick this week. Two pretty good cards from both venues, actually, Beaver. Enjoyed most of this. So what do you make of it?
It was some interesting cards, real tricky cards, real deep cards. Plenty of value there. A fair few that have sort of got some mixed form lines, some really good horses coming back into work here, and looks for a good day's racing.
Let's kick off at Randwick, where the rail is in the true. It was heavy as of this morning. It was a pretty good day today. There's a bit of rain around this tonight, but it's supposed to be good from here on in. So just check with Racing New South Wales, where we're sitting right now. As I said, rail true. Yeah, still in the heavy range. I treated this as we're going to get back to a soft track, so I'm not overly scared of a wet track, but I guess we'll see what's presented on the day. We kick off with a 1,200-metre benchmark 72 midway, and you want to talk about converging form lines and big fields. That's how we're starting. How are you starting?
It was hard to get too excited about some of the early races at Randwick. I narrowed this one down to two. I've settled on number 4, Vindication. Third up here was a good win first up. It's a short price, and then only just missed behind Mogo Magic last start. I think that's good form lines for this. Obviously, more fitness here. Step up to 1,200 suits. Gate 2's perfect, and we'll sit on the pace, which I think I want to be early on, at least in the day, to see how the track plays. So I did on top. Main Danger Boss, who's going well at the moment, first 2 rounds were pretty good, and then wasn't far behind a horse that I think's got some talent in our Kobe-san last start. So I think that's also good form lines. Also drawn well in 3. They're my 2 picks.
I started out thinking fresh is best here. Went looking for a couple of resumers. I found back rower on top, who finds Hugh Bowman back from Hong Kong for a while, I think. But trial was good. Just had the one run in last time and was put straight out. It's come back and trialled well enough here. I think it's better than benchmark 72 grade anyway. Gets running line and is on top. I thought I would find Cheerful Legend, but needs an absolute bone dry track, which I'm not confident now we're getting. And Gate 1 last left me a bit cold. Vindication looked obvious, covered that off, and Ningaloo Star hit the line pretty well first up. But this is not a bad horseback row. The form around the likes of Manzois and Osipenko reads well for this race. The second is a 1,100-metre highway, a Class 2. And given I'm now, the highway king after last week, I spent about at least 2 minutes on this race, and I don't know, got anything for me? For the record, I went Miss Kira Billy from Sung Blue.
Yeah, I settled on Miss Kira Billy as well. Think he can run well first up here. Has some good first up form, trialled nicely, albeit in the bush. But comes here with enough form when last in work at Rose Hill to suggest he can run well first up. So I had it on top as my main pick. Main Danger, Star of Kings. I think he can go well fresh as well. Had some really good wins at the likes of Wellington and was well back there. So I think it's the Main Danger.
2,400-metre benchmark 78 is up next on the card. Who have you found here?
Yeah, I've gone for Pacino here. Pretty consistent horse, and last 2 wins have been pretty good in Melbourne. Does handle the soft going, 2 from 2 on the soft, gets J-Mac, and this is a pretty weak field here. Hard to get too excited about anything else. Winning form is good form, and got it on top.
I was shocked Kirkeby wasn't favourite. It's the proper Saturday horse that's been running around and being honest in all the races leading up to this. When I did the form, I thought, this is going to be a great chance to suggest Pacino at double figures, and it's come up favourite from the other Melbourne horse. I don't think that Kirkeby form's weak enough to compare to midweek grade, so I've got Kirkeby on top with Nash. I do think their chances here, Pacino, they'll beat the rest of them, Pacino and Marshall Eagle, but I just thought Kirkeby was easy to like here, and that's the way I've gone.
Yeah, I looked at it and I thought the same as you form-wise, and then when I saw 62.5, I just went, I can't back these types of horses carrying that type of weight. And there may be a bit of sting out of the ground. I think that's
Yeah, probably not
the
ideal for
reason
it,
I
is it?
turned away from it.
No, understandable too.
No,
No, and that wasn't necessarily a knock on the other two because I thought they were both life chances. I was just shocked. So did everyone else, to be honest.
yeah,
But you probably get $5 on a day, Pacino, and hard to beat. The fourth, we're over the mile for a benchmark 78. And this is a tricky race here. I have ended up finding Hollywood Hero on top. Sat wide and was pretty brave last time. Only just missing behind Ivan's Hero. The only concern is it has led twice at Randwick and retired by the time it's got to the bend. So maybe that's not ideal. But I think we switched the gates on that last run between Hollywood Hero and the one that beat it, and the result's different. So I'm going that way. Amo Victorious is the main danger. Heavily backed last time out and won pretty well. Will run well again. If Principessa backs up on the 3-day backup, absolute live chance will end up being my best result here. Who do you like?
yeah. I've gone around the double figure odds mark, and I've come up with two. I've got Queenmaker on top. It's been freshened up for this, but previous form was pretty good. Handles the sting out of the ground as well, and is a very consistent horse. Isn't too far from the money generally, and I think it can run well. He freshened up, gets the right draw, $10 I think each way, and I think the main danger is number 15 for victory. Also each way odds, about $10. Wasn't asked to do much in its first up down in Melbourne, and then came to Rose Hill and ran a nice solid run behind What He Goes, who dominated that race. I thought that was a good lead up for this. Third up, Fit, Waller, can run well.
Good call, actually. I'll revisit that because, third up go time for Waller there, definitely. The fifth is the Group 3 Show County Quality over 1,200 metres. Again, I don't know if I'm disappointed by the market, but the market's come up the same way I have. I think the Waller two have this race between them. I love the resumption of Colino, and that was pretty soft through the line there. Runs well, but extremely lucky. Save from last week. I think that the stable might have a bit of an opinion of this, and it can get off the mark here with a Group 3 win. Fresh last time, absolutely flew, albeit at Morphettville. Now been in a Waller's care for a while. It would be better food, better treatment, getting all the good stuff, and I think can kick off with some black type. I think the only other one, there's some other chances here, but the only other horse I want to mention, not so much for this race, but I think Argentia has come back really well for Joe Pride, and it will win a decent race this preparation. It'll win one of these sort of races. I don't know if this is it just yet. Maybe third up is the go there, but just sort of throw that out there into the universe, Beaver. Who do you like?
Yeah, good summary there. I'm sort of aligned to your thinking. I think extremely lucky. I think they think he's got a bit of an opinion of this. Resumes here was scratched for this, and for me that means I'll have it on top. And Colino, obviously a horse that I do have an opinion of and do like following, and I think it will run well as well. I think those two have it between them, but extremely lucky on top for me.
Excellent. Up next, we've got the Premier's Cup, which is also at Group 3 level, over 2,000 metres. Here's a big field for you to get stuck into, Beaver. Who do you find on top?
Yeah, I didn't go too far past Fawkner Park, to be honest. Drawn the outside gate, which probably isn't ideal, but gets into this with 53 kilos, goes up a bit extra distance, only just missed last start, probably should have won and would have won if it was anything longer. Probably beat $2.25 if it was drawn gate 6. So you're probably getting that extra value because of the draw, but you can settle somewhere, and this is an ordinary lot.
It is, yeah. It's on top for me as well, actually. Only has to find running line, and I think it is very hard to beat if I was making cases for anyone else. I think Boy D'Argent is the main danger. Going well, freshen up, nice trial, really nice trial actually, from its Queensland trip, and can run well. Again, finding a line somewhere in that, finding a spot somewhere in that running line. I went and had a look at these. Not that I could find a heap. The couple of Lloyd Williams runners caught my eye. Best appointment to be in. It goes into an early quaddie, and Cleveland as well. Now second prep in Oz. At a bit of value, go into end of an early quaddie for me. The main quaddie kicks off with the toy show quality over 1,100 metres. The resumption of a lot of these 3-year-old fillies and mares. And which way have you gone here?
Yeah, I've gone for Sugotcha. It's my on topper. I think this sets up nicely for it. Drawn a little wide, but under these conditions, I don't think that's a huge problem. Loves a sting out of the ground. It's 1-5 from 9, but two from 2 on the soft, 2 from 4 on heavy, and a placing. I think that sets up nicely. Goes well first up. J-Mac Waller combination, and it's a couple of misses. Was 4 lengths behind Mr. Brightside in the Doncaster. Prior to that,
that was actually a pretty good run in a Doncaster too. I watched that back.
It was a good run.
Yeah,
so I think this is an ideal target first up, and is my on topper.
Cool. I have at the price. I've got Cinderella Days on top. I like the way it's come back. It's first up last prep. It was just behind In Secret and Sunshine in Paris. I think it can, and I think the trials have been good. Ready to go here. I really like the trials of Paracel and Queen of the Ball. I think they've both come back in great order. Terrified as you got you now, the money started to come for it. Just wasn't quite sure how to treat it first up over 1,100 metres, where potentially it's got some bigger goals down the road. But that's why I was going with just the solid on pacer in the sprint race. A lot of these horses actually, and we're about to get to the feature, have really come back in good order. I think there's some really nice trials. I don't know if just because we've had a dry winter for the first time in years and they've had a bit of sun on their back. But, so there's been some really nice trials the last couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be a pretty good competitive spring if the rain stays away. But let's get to the Group 1 feature, which is a weight for age level, 1,400 metres, and I'll let you have a crack at it.
Thank you. So nice of you. I'm going for Fangirl. I think it can run extremely well in this. First up, was just given a very easy couple of trials, but when last had been working Group 1, it was in the best form of its life, chasing Animo. We know there's no Animo in this, and I think it's certainly the horse to beat here. Hopefully enough pace on to allow it to come over the top of them. A lot of the horses in this, as we know, are resuming and are going around for the sake of it. Most of the stayers. I'm just not sure about Starkey. It's now 8 years old. Its last run in the Group 1 had every chance and failed, and then even a couple of runs prior to that had everything go its way. Not saying it can't win, but around the $5 mark, Fangirl for me.
What price would Gold Mile be if it had one last start? Is the way I saw this.
Yeah.
And it's $16 still. And it's, as you said, a lot of these are heading to somewhere else. And this is now a colt in a second up into a Group 1 race here. I think there's a target here, and I am going to have something under $15. It was trucking there first up before it just got spat out the back after the unfortunate incident on the railway. So it's on top from Moanga, I think, is in really good order as well. And that is, that Dubai Honour form is the best form we're going to see here. Wasn't far away. 2 really good trials. It hasn't been 101 for a long time, but I've talked myself into it here. I think the two colts with a chance of adding a Group 1 to their resume are on here, and I'm going to back them both. Lindeman's trialled really well, and there's other bits and pieces of all I said. Most of these have come up nicely this prep, but that's why I'm going. Even Think It Over's trial after the long spell was fantastic. But yeah, having a crack at double figure odds at both Golden Mile and Moanga.
Yeah, just like I get your point with Moanga, but gate 16, and it's had 14 starts in this company and hasn't won a race.
That's fair enough. But as I said, I think it's in better order than it was. It couldn't keep up a year ago.
Yeah, it'll need to be gate 16. I just don't know if it can beat these, but we'll soon see. And I'll be keen to watch the resumption of Think It Over, because it's, as we know, just a quality horse, and does go well fresh. So it could run extremely well.
End of the day, good race for what it is. It's
a good race.
It's a good race. So
Very good race.
You know, can't complain about it being Group 1. The 9th is the Silver Shadow Stakes, also a group race here, and we get to see more of the fillies step out, the new season 3-year-olds, and I'm going with the blue colours again, but I'm going with Inhibitions. It should have won first up. I thought it was trucking into that. I think it's up and ready to go, second up into this, and it's 30-1. So I'm going to have something on it. I like the stablemate, but I think not yet for the stablemate. I want to see it in town. The other ones in the market have come up well. Cristilli, nice trials, and Main Danger away from that. And I might just leave it there. Yeah, I'm pretty keen here to have an each-way play at Inhibitions.
Yeah, good shout. I think it was probably pretty unlucky not to win that race. I've gone for Estriella on top. Lot to like. It's only a couple of starts. One its first start, and then was only just nutted by Cabalas in its second start. Cabalas should have won last start and should have won easily. I think that's a talented horse, and I think this sets up nicely for its third start. It's got a little bit of fitness edge on some of these. Gate 5's perfect, and I think you'll get a sight for you at the $4 mark.
Excellent. The last is a benchmark 78, 1,200 metres. How are we finishing off?
Yeah, good little race to finish off. Some good little form lines around here. Some horses going well at the moment. I've settled on King of Naples. Last run was pretty good, I thought. It chased hard enough behind What It Goes. We just had all the favours up front and was just going too good, but didn't shirk its task. I think back to the 1,200 it suits. I think the 1,350, it just beat it on its run there. Prior to that, runs were pretty good, and I think it can get the right spot here from gate 5, and it will figure in the finish.
I've got Time to Boogie on top. Had to sit outside the lead there to Brudenell, and that other horse had the rail in its favour when that was the highway there. So I'm going with it in the last. As I said, it might be a better horse than I originally had an opinion of. From King of Naples, gets Nash back and will be hard to beat, as you've outlined. For Winx Stakes Day, let's get stuck into the quaddie. In the first leg, 1 Zougotcha, 5 Cinderella Days, 7 Parasol, 8 Queen of the Ball. Second leg, 3 Moanga, 7 Golden Mile, 9 Lindemann, 13 Fangirl, and I'm really tempted to put Think It Over in. In the third leg, 2 Cristilli, 1 Lazargo, 2 Cristilli, 6 Inhibition, 7 Darzosi, 8 Terima, 11 Estrella. And let's come home with 3 Pacific Ruby, 4 King of Naples, and 7 Time to Boogie. For progroupracing.com.au, I'm going to make my best in race number 3. Race 3, number 1, Kirkeby. And my value, race 8, number 7, Golden Mile. I like both the colts in the Group 1. Beaver, who do you like?
Yeah, my best bet's race 6, number 14, Fawkner Park. Got my on topper, and my value bet is race 4. I like race 4, number 9, and number 15. They're my 2 value bets in race 4. Back 1 and save on the other.
Lovely. I do like, as I said, I like what you've done there with 4 Victory. So I'll be revisiting that in my thoughts. Let's head to Caulfield. 10 races again down there. The track is currently good. The rail's moving at 9 metres. There's some rain around Friday, I believe. So keep an eye on it. I'm hoping it's around the dead mark, a bit of sting out, and good racing for everyone. It was in the same spot for this meeting last year, and running line was a play you want to be running on as the day went on. We kick off with a benchmark 70, 1400 metres, the aspirant, I think they call it, the equivalent of the midways. And again, it's a nice deep field. Have you found anything here?
Quite a deep field. Look, I've stuck with number 11, Steel Jimmy.
Yeah.
Only had the 2 starts and won them both, and won them both fairly convincingly. Walked in its first start, winning by 4+ lengths in its maiden, and then come out and franked that next start with a couple of length win in the benchmark 64. I think it brings some decent form to this race. So I've got it on top, and gate 11's okay.
Yeah, Jared Fry spent more time looking over his shoulder in those 2 wins than he'd looking forward the further it went in front. But live chance, scared of it. I've got First Mate on top. I liked what it did chasing St. Lawrence here, who would lap these, and followed it through and hit the line quite nicely. I think it's going really well. Belfield's freshened up. Nice jump out after being stuck outside the lead last time. Can run well here again. Down in grade. Terrified of Steel Jimmy, who might be the best horse in a race coming out of this. It might be on to bigger and better things. Struggle to really get excited about synthetic wins till I see them elsewhere. The second is a benchmark 78 for the girls, over 1,400 metres. I went up and down here and then decided I'm going to just go with the Fresh Blood Life Lessons. Nice trial coming into this. Probably best horse. Did some real good stuff a couple of preps back, and then was okay in black type last time. This is a good kickoff point, and I think it's going to be on to better stuff than 78 grade once again after this. So on top for me, Beaver. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think that's right. When you look through its form lines, you've got 3 lengths behind Foxy Frida and 3 lengths behind Scalapini. They'd be winning these races and probably be $1.30 shots. Gets a kill on a half claim here, resuming, and this is a fairly average lot. I think the main danger is probably Taj Need. Thought it was pretty good at Ryan Colino, and then Amor Victorious, who you gave a chance earlier. So that kind of form line sticks solid generally coming from Sydney. So I've got it as the main danger. They can run the Nella.
I actually, you're right. I agreed. I think Taj Need is working back to some form now. The fourth, 1,100 metre benchmark 88. Again, I went looking for. Well, I thought I'd just end up finding the Sydney form here with Blake Shin jumping on. My concern was it's going to probably be back and last and have a bit to do. And this is a deep field. I think there's just some upside in a couple of others that scares me a little here, namely Skiddamarink, who has spent, I assume, winter up in Queensland, resumed with a win, now comes here and has trialled well again since. Flying on a Limb has plenty of upside. And if we get to a good track, one for in exotics, I think Diamond... Oh, you're right?
Yeah, you've jumped to race 4.
Oh, yeah, I've got to get this one. All right. We'll put a pin in that and come back to race 3, which is a benchmark 78 over 1,200 metres. May as well keep going here. I'm sticking solid with Varvia, who is flying 2 pretty soft wins at Caulfield. Shin on, it'll find a nice enough spot in a running line and is going to be very hard to beat again. Scared of Holy Mans, who is a talented horse, has trialled okay, but they're both on wet tracks, and I think probably goes better on a drier track, which I'm hoping we do get. Main danger there, and they're the main 2 I'll talk about, really. Shove Over will run well here now, getting second up and to a better trip. What have you made of this?
Yeah, same as you. I got Varvia on top. I think this is a perfect stepping stone for another win. Both last starts and the start before have been excellent. Was in complete control last start. Did have the right run, but put pay to him and was never in doubt. A little trickier draw here in gate 15, but that's probably why you're getting the $4. So if Shin gets it across and gets it a tricky enough out of a tricky enough spot and into the running line, it'll be able to pull out and get a track into the race and be too good for these. So I think that's the only concern, is where it gets to in running, and that it's not caught too wide. So clear on top for me.
Awesome. The fourth is the 1100 metre benchmark 84. And I've already given halfway stuff away, so you can go.
Yeah, I've got Wave Rider Boy on top as well. I think its Sydney form has been pretty good. Got back last time and came home strongly from last on the turn. It's got an outstanding finish. As long as there's enough pace on here, I think it can run really well and is going to be super hard to beat. So it's my clear on topper. But yeah, there's some good horses in this. Flying on the Limb is packed with potential. I think this is its biggest test to date. So I'll be really keen to see how it goes, but it's been freshened up for this. And there's even a couple of horses like Yellow Sam down that resumed and was a very nice win first up. Is won last three races and is got some ability. So some of these horses down here, they go all right. Good race, but Wave Rider or Boy on top for me. I just think the race might pan out and really suit it to cover its final powerful finish.
Beauty. Yeah, the only other one I was about to mention for exotics is Diamond in the Sky. If we get a bone dry track, was a good resumption. Doesn't go at all on the wet, and was quite good on the wet. Since then, Twin Perfection has come out and won in town. $7 a place might be worth thinking about. 1400 metres, benchmark 84 is up next. I'll try not to skip any more here. Who do you like here?
Yeah, interesting race here. I went looking for a little bit of value here. I come up with Devoted, the top weight. Done a lot of racing in group company and hasn't been that far off them, even if it doesn't look as good in its form lines. Last start was 8th in the Carbine Club. Wasn't that far off them. It's only 3 lengths behind Mink's Moment, and it actually started favourite in that race. So that was shows that they certainly got some talent. And then prior to that was in a couple of good races over the West. Look, it goes really well first up. It's 1, 2 out of its 3. Distance is okay and gets the right draw, and the 3 kilo claim won't hurt. So I've got it as my on topper, and I think some good value. And the other one to watch is Worsfold resuming. I think he can run really well. Flies first up. It's won 3 out of 4 in a placing. And again, probably get back in the field, but if there's enough pace on, it could be the Smoky coming over the top.
Nice call. I've gone outside, a little bit outside the market as well. I've gone with the international here, Dubai Poet, who brings some good group form from overseas around this distance. It was ridden out in the trials, but did respond and trialled okay. Mickey D jumps on. It's $10. Be my starting point. You've mentioned Devoted. I agree with a lot of what you said there. It was lame as well in that Carbine Club when it wasn't far away. And I think that Ain't No Deal Done has come back in really good order. All its trials have been great coming here and can run into a place as a stayer with Zara on. It looks in for a good prep. The 6 is a listed Regal Roller over 1,200 metres, which is an interesting race because there's just not any pace here. For a 1,200 metre race, I was trying to work out who was going to go forward, and I thought that might end up being Savannah Cloud, even though might be more proactive out to 14. But I think it goes forward, and I think it's going to be very hard to beat in this race. But the best result and on top selection for me is going to be Bandersnatch. Best horse. Interesting to decide to come to Melbourne, kick off here over perhaps slightly shorter than its best, but this might be a nice target. Ollie on, it has to run well around the $6 mark. End of bit of a watch on the UK horse here, Thunder Beauty.
Yeah, no, I've settled on It's Our Time. I think it's going really well at the moment, and it's up and running and has the fitness edge on a lot of these. It was last start at Flemington and went past them quite comfortably. I don't think it'll be that far back this time. Gate 6, I think it'll probably sit a little bit closer and just going great at the moment. Wasn't far behind Ingratiating back here 2 starts ago in the group race. And then they've been running well down the straight at Flemington. So can mix its distances a bit and is up and running against a lot of these horses that are resuming. So right draw, right setup here.
Excellent. The 1100 metre Quisette kicks off for the 3-odd fillies, kicks off the quaddie. How are you kicking off the quaddie?
Yeah, this is one hell of a tricky race. Probably the hardest race of the day across Sydney and Melbourne. I've come down with two. I've gone Ulanova on top from the Freedman stable, resuming here. It's got some Group 1 form out of New Zealand, and I think that was pretty good. That type of form, it comes here. I think they've got a bit of an opinion of this, and I think this sets up really nicely for it. I'm quite keen that it will run extremely well around the $10 with the main danger, She's All Shenanigans. I think it can run well as well. Posted a couple of nice wins by good distances when last in work. This looks like a good first up tilt, and I think it can run well.
I think there's a little bit of a chink in these two favourites, Charmstone and Skirt the Law. I don't like the fact Skirt the Law. I know it was probably under prep run last time, but then the trial since wasn't wrapped in either. I've got 1 from 8. There you go. All and over from She's All Shenanigans. I don't have much more to add.
Kidding me?
No, that's it. And I think real good chances. Next best Sicilian, because Gay doesn't often miss. Will go in everything as well.
I think I'm going to have to update my virus software on my computer because you must be hacking in.
I'm pretty keen to have a crack at it too. I think they're going to run really well, both those two.
Yep, I'm with you.
Perfect. Gives me a bit more confidence, Beaver. The Vane Stakes is up next, and I've got confidence here. With the boys stepping out over 1,100 metres, this is probably the best 3-year-old going around Cylinder. A serious horse, did good stuff last prep. Trials have been absolutely fantastic. It will win this and probably win a lot more things in the next 6 weeks or so. Better the day for me.
Agree. Nothing more to add, mate. Better than this lot.
Perfect. The 9th is the feature down here, the PB Lawrence Stakes. 1,400 metres, where your mate Mr. Brightside has come up even money. It's won 1 from 5 fresh. Is that where you want to go?
I'm going to stick there. I think it's better than these. I think it's got the right draw. Gate 90 is perfect. I think it can just get to wherever it wants to in running here. There's probably going to be enough pace on with the likes of Buffalo River to drag it along and set up a nice tempo for it. So I've got it on top. I think the main danger is pinstriped. I think it can run well $14. Certainly wouldn't let that be getting under my guard. Fresh, 1,400, gate 4, can run extremely well.
I'm taking you on. I'm not necessarily knocking Mr. Brightside because it is probably best horse, but Tuvalu flies fresh, has trialled well, gets Blake Shin, is probably going to lead this race and is a Group 1 winner at the track. So around the 7, I think it's 650 now, from what I can see here. I think it's a real live each-way chance. And I think there's a tail here. As you said, there's not a lot else here of genuine, not a lot else you consider genuine Group 1 horses. I was sort of leaning as Pinstripe being next best after those two. Very interested to see Forgot You back at the track for the first time in a couple of years. Hopefully it gets around and we get to see some of the best of it. As we wrap up the card with a mile...
Do you think just before you go on, do you think Tuvalu's going to lead, or do you think it's going to be able to cross Buffalo River?
True, not from gate 1. So you're probably sitting at either outside lead or 1-1. No,
that was my concern outside the lead, and Brightside just sits in behind them. And if that's the way it plays out, I just don't see them being able to hold it out.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see probably how they ride Aegon and a couple others from out there, where the rest of this pace is. Yeah, good call. Yeah, we probably are dealing with outside lead. Where does Brightside get? Tuvalu's back?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it sitting maybe 6th. And if it sits there and just one out in that trailing line, I just think it's too good for these.
Yeah, and I
Good
wasn't.
horse.
It is a good
It's a good
horse.
horse.
And it's trialled well. Wasn't necessarily knocking it. I was more knocking the price. But we'll see how that goes. We have seen it.
You might get better.
We might. We've also seen when it's been go time for that horse, there's a lot of money for it regularly. Anyway, we got benchmark 100 over the mile to wrap up, and this is another interesting race to finish the day. I am going to finish the day with a bit of a question mark after going up and down this card, and I've ended up just coming back to Right You Are in the fact that it's very good at getting to the right spot, can stay out of trouble, find an on-pace spot even over the mile, and he's just very honest. He's a fighter, and around $7 he's going to go on top from me. I thought I would, and I sort of am. I think Sabak's a live chance. I thought I'd find it on top, but is the main danger. Berkeley Square, a nice resumption, too far out of its ground. Is a horse where gate 18 does concern me now because it will be dragged back, so we want to see him running on. They're the main three. I've got a couple. Because I'm a little bit crazy, I'll probably throw Macram and a couple others into a quaddie and see if we can split that. But that's how I've seen this race. 1 from 7 predominantly. Beaver?
Yeah, I've gone for number 14 on top, Deny Knowledge. I think it can run really well here. Finished off pretty impressively in the Geelong Country Oaks, putting paid to them fairly convincingly there. But its runs prior to that were pretty good. Finished close up behind a horse called Savannah Cloud, which you said could run well. And I just think this is a nice setup for it. Gets in with 53 kilos, so it's getting 5, 6, 7, 8 kilo pull on a lot of these horses. I think that can be the difference here. Berkeley Square was a really good run first up. I was impressed, but gate 18, just not sure, but it might be able to let down and put pay to these. So it's certainly a live chance as well. Not sure about Right You Are first up. I just don't think this is a target for it, and I think they've probably got bigger races in mind for it. So I think
could be on a Caulfield Cup pass actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and if it is, I don't think this is a target that they'd want to be busting its gut for. It could be wrong.
Yep. No, and I think you make a good case that Deny Knowledge is the best miler in this race. Excellent. Glad you agree. So we will let you tell us your quality numbers now.
Yeah, no worries. The first leg, a tricky leg, but let's see if we can nail it. Race 7, leg 1, number 1, Ulanova. Number 3, Charmstone. Number 8, She's All Shenanigans. Number 9, Komochi. And number 11, Axelina. In the second leg, race 8, number 2, Cylinder. That'll do me. We'll go one out there. Race 9, we'll go number 1, Mr. Brightside. Number 11, Pinstriped. And number 15, Attrition. And then we'll go a little bit wider in the last race. And we're going to go number 7, Sabak, number 9, Berkeley Square, number 11, Juniper, number 13, Ulysses, and number 14, Deny Knowledge.
Awesome. For progretracing.com.au, where you can subscribe to the weekly newsletter, which includes this show in your inbox free every Friday night. Your best and value on PB Lawrence Stakes Day.
My value is race 7, number 1, Ulanova. I think it can run well. And my best bet is race 8, number 2, Cylinder.
My best bet is race 8, number 2, Cylinder. Given that's a little bit of a cop-out, I'll say Bandersnatch is a real good chance in the sprint race there. My value, race 9, number 6, Tuvalu. And I'm also really keen on that bracket, race 7, number 1 and number 8. I think we get a result. Good day's racing. Spring's here, so I'm excited. What's happening rest of the country up at Doomben? You got anything for us? I assume one of them's going to be race 6, number 6, but tell us what else is happening.
Yeah, I got a few up there. Race 4, number 6, Prime Impact. I think it can run well around the $556. No, I'm going race 6, number 10, Bubba's Bay.
Right.
I think it's a real good chance of knocking off the favourite there. It's a good win last start.
It was a good win, actually.
Bubba's Bay. Beat Field Weary, and before that ran really nicely at Warwick Farm behind Boss, who I think can run really well. I think it's a live chance.
Nice.
So I've got it there. I just think the favourite's maybe a little bit skinny, but we'll see how we go. My best bet is up there is race 7, number 10, Hatchet.
Beauty. Not else from me from the rest of Australia. I think Morphettville race 6, number 2, Chicago Storm resumes and is a little winner. So it's any other one I'll probably be looking at around the rest of the country, but definitely keen to be playing at Randwick and Caulfield. Thank you, Beaver.
Thank you.
Thank you, punters. We'll be back Wednesday morning with the usual midweek show, and we'll be here all spring with all the winners, quality numbers, and everything else. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.